Hi, it's Teresa from Dodge Nature Center, and this week on Nature to Go, we're going to be talking about one of the most common animals we have around our pond. That's right, we're going to look at painted turtles. It's not only at Dodge, but throughout the state of Minnesota, painted turtles are our most common type of turtle. And probably you've seen them when you've been by a pond or a lake. During the summertime, they like to hang out on logs or on rocks. They're sunning themselves. They're easy to recognize. They have sort of a greenish, dark-colored upper shell. That's called carapace. And then their bottom shell usually has orange or yellows on it. That's called the plastron. Their head and their legs will be dark-colored with yellowish stripes. And they're between 7 and 10 inches in size. Now that it's warming up and the ground is thawing, turtles start thinking about laying eggs. The female will leave the pond or lake that she's in, find a spot, dig a hole, deposit her eggs, bury those eggs, and then head back to the pond. She never goes back to check on her children. The female lays between 4 and 10 eggs, and often those eggs never hatch because they're a favorite food of animals like foxes and raccoons. Those eggs will take about 3 months before they're ready to hatch. And even then, once they hatch, not all of them will leave that nest site. Some of them spend the winter there. So in the spring, we sometimes spot little turtles that have finally emerged from underground and are heading to the pond. So if you spot a turtle in an unusual spot this spring, assume that it knows where it's going. If you want to help it get across a road, grab it by the back like you're holding a sandwich, and then move it in the direction that it was heading. Don't help it, quote unquote, by sending it back to a pond. Maybe it's a female who's heading off to lay eggs. Now, the next time you look at a turtle, look very close at that carapace, the top shell. And one of the things you might notice is that it's divided up into different sections. Those are called scutes. There are 13 of those large scutes. And then around the edge of the shell, there are 28 smaller scutes. Now, why is this interesting? It's because there's actually a connection to the lunar calendar. If you count how many full moons or new moons there are in a year, there are 13, the same number of scutes that are on the back of the turtle shell. And the number of days from one full moon to the next full moon, or one new moon to the next new moon, is 28. This is a really interesting fact. It's not anything new. American Indians were well aware of this. And if you do a little research, you can find many stories and explanations of how this was integrated into life of different American Indian tribes. So that's just a couple of really cool facts about an animal I just am fascinated by, turtles. There's way more that I can tell you, but we'll share that with you another time. Keep your eyes open for turtles and start watching the night sky, watching the moon. There's a really interesting thing that's going to be happening on May 16th, and we're going to talk about that next week on Nature to Go. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk to you again next time.